Hi there, my name is Sean Conley, and I want to express to you my gratitude for being chosen to take part in the Alaadeen Apprentice Mentor Program for 2017. I wanted to take a little bit of time and explain, first of all, what a great honor this is for me. As a young man, I performed in Alaadeen's band. I toured with Alaadeen, and it was some of the first real-world original music, jazz experience that I had a chance to get. And in many ways, Alaadeen was a mentor for me. I think for a lot of us, we all learned a lot from him and admired him greatly. So to get this chance to sort of take some of that and give it back to another person, my student Haruka, has been really fun for me. So one of the things about this program is it's set up so that we can try to do some things that we could not normally teach in a traditional educational environment. Now, I've been teaching Haruka Yoshimochi for the last couple of years at the Bass Collective here in New York. And within that context, we've covered a lot, but a lot of times we're under time guidelines that are specific to a program. For instance, maybe this week's lesson, I have to spend the whole lesson dealing with very specific music that he's playing in a, in an ensemble. So, while that's great, and very real world in the fact that we're working on music that he's playing, there's a lot of other things that kind of went under the radar. So, through this program, what I decided to do was a couple separate sort of tracks. My first track with Haruka was to really spend some time talking about things that aren't about playing the bass, but are very important to how we go about having a career in this business. Haruka is moving back to Japan and going to start his professional life there. So, having been a person who's already had to come to New York and build a career, I had to move to Kansas City and learn to, how to deal with these issues. I felt like I had a lot of good advice and points for him to think about. We talked about sort of having a strategy for approaching a market that one wants to be a part of. Some of those strategies might be where really becoming aware of where is music every night, who's playing where are bass players playing. A lot of times bass players get other work through other bass players, subbing for each other, and the like. We talked about, the different methods of sort of self-promotion a little bit. What does he need to be able to show people? What's going to get him the gig? He just also produced his own recording of some music, so like now he has something very specific to enter, to let people hear how he plays and what his artistic vision is. On top of that, we talked a lot about things like, well, okay, you're going to do this recording. What are the easiest ways to produce a recording? Not so much monetarily, but there's a lot of details that when you're young, you don't realize when you're making a recording. For instance, things like how many takes, which is the take I want, if we made an insert here or we overdubbed here. Someone has to keep track of all this information so that you can do the post-production as efficiently and frankly cheaply as possible, right? Okay. We talked about making sure that if there are individuals that you really want to play with, you need to be able to go up and say, hey, listen, my name is, Sean, I'm Haruka. I really enjoy your music, love to play sometime. Being willing to just put yourself out there. The people who are willing to put themselves out there do well in this business. It's still a people business, for instance, I haven't had a business card in years. Either someone gets my number from someone who knows me or they ask me directly. It's so different than sort of the corporate norms of today. Okay. We spent a lot of time talking about payment, when people owe you money, dealing with the less fun parts of running a personal business, a lot of these things I don't think Haruka had really thought about because he's a young man, Right now all he's like is, can I just play the bass? But there's a lot of details to this, planning ahead, planning for projects, etc. After that, we also spent more time in the practice room working on the bass. There were still things I felt that after the program, I could give him and help him with his progression on the instrument. But then what was really the best part for me is I decided that it would be the best I could do for him is to make it sort of that in the end, after all this work and practice and lessons and talks, we would put on a little concert. And I wanted to do it of Alaadeen's music so that he could have this direct relationship to these songs. I always really enjoyed playing Alaadeen's music. So now I felt like, okay, when I was asked to be in Alaadeen's music, what happened? Well, he gave you some music, maybe had a rehearsal, and then you made sure you learned it and showed up on the gig ready to play his music. Okay? So with Haruka, what I did is I decided to hire a rhythm section of friends of mine here in New York, great players who could come in, and we'd have Haruka, practice and rehearse this music for a while, and we'd make a little video of him playing these songs. Some of the songs I picked, I thought that Big Six would be a great song for a bass feature, so Haruka learned the melody and played it with the trio. I also wanted him to play Peace in the Neighborhood because I always loved playing that song when I was in Alaadeen's band, and I think it has some harmonic changes that, could teach him a lot. And then he chose a few songs. So, but, between all that, we had 4 or 5 songs, and we did one of his originals as well, I should add. I thought it was important that he learn to take his original and give it to a band and have them do it. So I just want to take a minute to thank all of you again for picking me to be part of this program. It's meant a great deal to me, and I've really been enjoying this work. I hope you'll see through the videos, too, that Haruka really came a long way, and, he's playing Alaadeen's music and keeping that message alive. Hopefully he can take that to Japan with him. It's always nice when the legacy continues to grow. It really is a legacy. We one-on-one teach each other, in this world. So despite the fact that perhaps jazz colleges are the norm these days, the reality is it's still very mouth-to-mouth, person-to-person, and it's important that we not only remember that, but that we remember to take time to give back. So thank all of you also who have supported the Mentor Apprenticeship Program. I think you're doing some really good work, and I think a lot of us are very grateful. And thank you, Fanny, for picking me to be part of this program. Take care.